Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Tips for Accurately and Safely Packaging Cannabis and CBD Products in Jars and Bottles. This is Mark Plantier of Enercon Industries, and we thank you for joining us today. Packaging of CBD products, medical, and legalized recreational cannabis is rapidly evolving. And whether you are packaging a few products per minute or dozens per minute, product weight, product freshness, and tamper-evident packaging is very important. Please note that today's presentation is being recorded and will be made available to all registrants as soon as it is posted online tomorrow. You may ask a question at any time during the presentation by typing it into the question tool provided on your screen. Our panelists will answer as many questions as they can at the end of the presentation. If there's not time to answer all the questions, our panelists will follow up with you after the webinar. For today's presentation, we are fortunate to have assembled a group of cannabis packaging experts who have expertise in the best practices for weighing, filling, capping, and sealing products. Jeff Say brings over 20 years of packaging experience to today's presentation. In his career, Jeff has served internationally as a sales leader for companies providing packaging equipment solutions across many industries. Jeff is currently sales manager in North America for Heat and Control, and today he will share insights on weighing equipment solutions for cannabis applications. Mark Navin is Vice President of Sales at CBD Packaging Machinery and has over 27 years experience in the packaging equipment industry. Mark is an active member of PMMI and serves on the organization's Industry Relations Committee. Mark has a passion for helping packagers find simple solutions to improve productivity, and today he will focus on accurate filling solutions for cannabis products. John Antoine is SureCap's National Sales Manager, and for the past 15 years has led the company's sales efforts to provide quality capping equipment to customers across a wide range of industries. He has helped grow and maintain the company's reputation for top-class customer service and satisfaction. Today, John will share insights on the keys to successful capping of cannabis and CBD products in jars and containers. As Regional Sales Manager for Enercon, Jessica Tellner offers packagers over 15 years experience in solving packaging challenges. Jessie has done extensive work in implementing induction sealing solutions for cannabis products across the United States and Canada. In today's presentation, Jessie will provide best practices to help packagers always achieve a perfect seal. Our panelists will be covering these topics in detail and sharing their insights on how to achieve success in these critical packaging areas, including the best practices for weighing, filling, capping, and sealing, the importance of weighing accuracy, ensuring gentle product handling with versatile filling solutions, consistent capping with easy changeover, and how to use induction seals to preserve product freshness and tamper evidence. With that, I'll hand it over to Jeff from Heat and Control, and he'll get us started by sharing his insights on achieving accurate product weighing when packaging cannabis and CBD products.
Thank you, Mark, for the introduction, and good morning, everyone. As Mark mentioned, my name is Jeff Say, and I have the pleasure of presenting today the Heat and Control offerings in the cannabis industry. Heat and Control is a world-leading equipment manufacturer that offers the latest technology and the highest quality for food and non-food industries. We offer a wide selection of production machinery supported by a long history of process experience. We are specialists in the design, engineer, manufacture, and sale of machinery to fill unique needs across many applications and industries. Heat and Control has been the exclusive supplier of Ishida multi-head wares for over 40 years. I'd like to share with you some fast facts about Heat and Control, if I may. We currently have 11 manufacturing facilities and over 21 sales offices worldwide. We also have over 1,800 employees worldwide with global manufacturing capacity of over 840,000 square feet. In early 2022, Heat and Control opened a brand new state-of-the-art demonstration, training, and testing facility in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Now what I'd like to do is present the Heat and Control offerings in the cannabis industry. First, I'd like to start off with the fastback horizontal motion conveyor. This conveyor is designed for gentle handling on product with slow forward, fastback horizontal motion. The fastback features a complete sanitary design And the fastback is designed for operator friendly. There's no preventative maintenance required whatsoever with this machine. It's proven technology with over 25 years of successful installations. We've recently just released our version 4.0. Next, we have the Ishida combination wear, or the micro wear as we call it in the cannabis industry. It's high accuracy, ultra low target weights. It's operator friendly with programmable product menus, very low maintenance. Again, this system is proven technology, 40 years of successful installations with hundreds of products and hundreds of applications worldwide, including over 30 successful installations in North America running cannabis products. One of our enhanced features we have with this weighing system is our wear enclosure. This custom-made enclosure is made specifically for the Ishida micro wear. This enclosure protects product from debris and contaminants in the packaging area that may occur. It's simple and easy removal, as well as reattachment for cleaning and maintenance. What I'd like to show you now is Heating Control's gentle handling, conveying, and weighing cannabis products as a system. Starting at the operator level, we have the fastback in-feed conveyor. This conveyor transfers the cannabis flowers straight into the lift and tip vertical conveying system with revolution hopper and single bucket design. This then dispenses the product in a gentle manner to the weigher feeder at the top of the system. The fastback weigher feeder then feeds the cannabis flower directly into in a gentle manner, directly into the Ishida multi-head weigher, which then weighs the cannabis product to desired target weights. In the system layout, we're also showing an optional weigher enclosure, protecting the product from debris and contamination. In a nutshell, this system is easy to operate. It has user-friendly LCD touchscreen. It's easy to maintain. There's no preventative maintenance with very few wear items. It's easy to clean. All contact parts are removable without tools. And the system features a compact design, as you can see in this diagram. The key to heating control cannabis system is the Ishida CCW, or we call computer combination weigher, RV Revolution High Performance Range 214 micro, 14 weighing heads. This micro weigher is the world's smallest multi-head weigher. It's a perfect solution for ultra low target weights. Weighing increments as low as 0.01 grams that significantly reduces giveaway of high value products such as cannabis flowers. The weigher is capable of speeds up to 100 weighments per minute. And we have a target range of half a gram up to 20 grams, depending on the type of packaging or application that you're running. The minimum piece size is just 0.5 millimeters. We also have the option of electro-polished 316 grade stainless steel contact parts. This gives an even greater reduction of residue that can build up when running cannabis flowers in the packaging industry. To conclude the heating control portion of this presentation, we'll now be showing you an automated equipment solution for conveying, weighing, and packaging cannabis product. You're now going to see a video of the system that I showed you earlier. Beginning with the conveying of the cannabis flowers into the Fastback 4.0 conveyor, into the lift and tip system with a single bucket design and gentle feeding into the Ishida micro weigher, which will then calculate the programmed target weights and dispense the cannabis flowers into the high-speed jar filling system that you'll see that's designed and manufactured by Speedy Manufacturing. The final portion of this video will show an optional chain metal detector and a sheet of X-ray that you can use for further enhanced safety and quality control. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jeff. And just a note, as we play videos during today's presentation, please note that the audio for the video can only be heard through computer speakers. So if you're listening on a phone line, you will not be able to hear the audio. However, for today's videos, it is all either background music or machine noise, so you will not be missing out on anything. With that, we will start the first video that we have today from Heat and Control. All right. With that, we'll
Mark, that
pass it
concludes
over
my
to. Oh,
presentation. Yes, thanks, sir. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, that concludes the presentation for heating control. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Much appreciated.
great. Thank you, Jeff. So now we will hand it over to Mark with Speedy.
Thank you very much, Mark. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate everyone logging in and joining us. Today, I want to talk a little bit about Speedy's solutions for cannabis flower. I do want to note also that we are capable of doing gummies as well, but today's presentation will primarily focus on flower. Speedy at a glance, we manufacture filling systems for the food, nutraceutical, and cannabis industries. Speedy's been around for a very long time. Our first filler was built in 1946. Everything's designed, fabricated, wired, assembled, programmed, tested, and factory acceptance tested in our Wisconsin headquarters. We are right about 100 employees right now, and the Speedy business has been in my family for the last 42 years. So the first thing I want to touch on is the container that we're looking at. Today, we're going to focus on rigid containers, not flexible, but rigid. And when we look at rigid containers for cannabis, we want to consider the material as well as the opening diameter. The opening diameter is important because within the cannabis space, everybody wants to package the largest flowers they can, but it's very hard to get a very large file of flower into a very small opening of a container. So we do have to look at the design of the container first, and next we look at the material. Primarily, we're looking at plastic or PET containers and glass containers. On the plastic side, we focus on what we call our inline filler, and then on the glass side, we look more at our tear gross machine. So with the inline filler, we're going to look at a video here in a moment, and I want to focus on three primary items. Number one is the diving nozzle. You saw this briefly in the video that Jeff just showed below the sheet of scale. And what happens is the diving nozzle is going to move downward on top of the container to make sure that, number one, we're not spilling any flowers or any gummies. Number two is the servo timing screw. So this is going to move the containers in and out of the fill station very quickly and also very gently. A lot of folks will use indexing cylinders or air cylinders in this area. And what we found is we can really damage or put marks on the container when using that style. And so we prefer to go with the timing screw. And the last thing is the container vibrator. That is very important to make sure that we're getting all of the flour into the container and nothing is protruding out of the top, which then when it goes through the capper, we could press the cap down on product that's sitting proud of the container and end up damaging some of the buds. So we can go ahead and move to the videos, please. First one is going to show empty containers running through with different change parts. And then the following video is going to show product running.
Mark, do you want to introduce this video?
Sure. Thanks, Mark. The very top of that screenshot is showing the timing hopper from the Ishida weigher. And that is a dual acting timing hopper. So when it opens forward to the left or to the left of the screen, that's going to transition the flour that's been pre-weighed down into our system to transition it into the container. And if the weigher detects that it has a misweighment, or maybe they vibrated one too many buds into a bucket, there's an automatic reject, and that will open the back bucket into a reject bin. And then there's a sensor in that bin to let the operator know when it's full, and that product can then be recycled back up into the scale. And then the rest you'll see just a line running in production. All right, thank you for that. That was, by the way, running about 40 containers per minute on 3.5 grams. All right, moving along, we're going to go into our Terra Gross filler. This one is primarily for glass containers, and what we noticed after a couple of years of selling the inline system into the cannabis industry is that there's more variation in the empty glass jar weights than the product that's actually being filled in. And so check weighing becomes an issue. So we came up with this system as a solution for that issue. If you go to the next slide, please. So what we have here is the Terra Gross machine. This is running from left to right in the screenshot. On the upstream end, we've got an air cylinder that will allow containers to go into the star wheel. And then we've got a servo indexing star wheel. We use a servo motor for that because we are weighing these containers as they go through, and we want to make sure that we're not touching the container as it's on the weigh cell. So the star wheel will advance and then back up just a few degrees to make sure that nothing is touching the container on the weigh cell. And then it indexes underneath the Ishida combination weigher, where we're filling the container and vibrating it from underneath. And then the next station, we're actually weighing the gross weight of the container with the flour, and the PLC is automatically deducting the tare weight of that container. And then we make a decision as to whether the right net weight is in the jar, and we let the approved jars go downstream, and anything that's out of tolerance will reject into an outer lane. We can go ahead and play the video, please. So quick question for everyone. Would that video play? It froze for me. I don't know if we can get any feedback from Enercon on that.
As we were watching, it did not freeze.
All right. It did freeze for me, but I can talk through it. Don't sweat it. So I just want to reiterate one more time that we got the jar stop. We've got a photo eye that actually detects a no container, no fill, which is going to, if there was a missing container, we won't drop any flour on the floor. We've got the tear away cell where we're tearing out the empty container and then we're filling it from the Ashita weigher and vibrating it. And then we're taking the gross weight, subtracting the tear weight, and then either rejecting or allowing the container to go downstream. All right, upstream and downstream of the packaging system, Speedy also does manufacture and design custom unscrambling and accumulation tables. So you can take your case of empty jars, set it on the tray, and then push those empty jars onto a rotating unscrambling table to feed the system. And lastly, I want to mention that Speedy also gets involved with line integration and factory acceptance tests. One of the things we've noticed within the cannabis industry is not every company has got onboard engineers, and they will often look for help with line layouts, equipment selection, equipment purchasing, and then most importantly, the integration of the equipment to make sure everything is running and communicating properly. So on the left-hand side on the AutoCAD drawing, if we work from the bottom of the page up, this is a complete flour packaging line, starting with the unscrambling table, moving through an air rinser that will introduce ionized air into the empty containers while the containers are inverted and blow out any potential contaminants. And then the containers are right-sided and put into the conveyor that feeds the tear gross system or the inline system that we just looked at. And then we also, on this system, provided a mezzanine and staircase, the Ashita fastback conveyor system, the Ashita micro weigher, and then downstream from that, a complete automated capping system, accumulation of containers, and then we can go downstream from that into labelers as well, which is what you're seeing running horizontally from left to right at the top of the page. And then the screenshot is just a representation of the upstream end of that line with the unscrambling table, the air rinser, the mezzanine, the Ashita scale system, and then the Speedy filling system. So we're happy to talk to anybody after the call and look at potential solutions for complete lines if required. And with that, I'd like to pass this along to John Antoine from SureCap.
Thanks, Mark. Hi, I'm John Antoine. SureCap has been founded, was founded since 1987. We have established ourselves as the leading source of high quality inline capping machines, liquid fillers, conveyors, and turntables. Our packaging equipment can be found across a wide range of industries, including food, beverage, consumer goods, pharmaceutical, industrial products, and of course, cannabis. All our equipment is designed and built in Georgia. Our entry into the cannabis industry began 5 years ago in the Canadian market. We have since entered the US market and have seen consistent demand for our cappers. Our cappers can be used with both the buds and the gummies, anything that can fit into these containers. We can cap these containers. There's a picture of a standard SK 8000 BF6 capper. There are several types of cappers. You may hear about the rotary chuck capper. Those are generally for very high speed applications. The initial and ongoing cost of ownership is high due to the complexities of those machines. And these can be built to either handle screw caps or press-on caps. Snap cappers, these are dedicated to just press-on caps, and speeds can vary depending on the size of caps and containers that you want. Spindle cappers, which SureCap produces, handles low to high speed applications depending on the bottle and cap size. That is a big determination in what speeds you can go. Cost of ownership, low to high, depending on the options you select or what's needed for your specific application. These cappers are very versatile in that they can handle a wide range of bottles and caps. Few change parts required. In this picture, you can see the main part of the capper. The gripper belts are used to maintain control of the containers as they're going through the machine. We have to have that control because we don't want the containers rotating while we're trying to tighten a cap. We offer various belt widths depending on the size of the bottles that you are tightening. That ensures that you have maximum control of the container. You may find applications where you have double gripper belts. Those are specific to when you have odd-shaped containers. What we have seen in the cannabis industry will not require that. A capper is generally used to achieve consistent torques on all the caps that you are applying. Our spindle cappers achieve this through the clutches. The tightening discs. In this picture, you can see 3 sets of tightening discs. The last 2 are clutched. The clutches, what determines your torque. By adjusting the clutches, you can adjust the torque values that you're getting on the bottle, on the caps. Standard clutches are mechanical, and you have to stop the machine in order to make any adjustments. We also offer pneumatic clutches, which can be adjusted while the machine is running. So if you find that your caps are not tight enough, you can, with the pneumatic clutches, you can do it, make the adjustment and achieve better torque. The cappers will also include guarding with safety interlock doors. When you open the doors, the machine will shut off and it will not restart by just closing the doors. You have to physically press a button to activate the start sequence. The cappers also feature floor level loading of caps. This allows you not having to climb up to load caps into the hopper. With OSHA these days, you're looking to limit the amount of opportunities for people to fall or injure themselves. So floor level loading helps with that, and it achieves faster loading of the caps. Some of the advantages of spindle cappers, you get continuous capping. You don't have to stop for indexing or cap placement. By using the cap elevators, vibratory bowls, or even a combination of the two, an operator needs only replenish the bulk caps from time to time. The elevator will deliver the caps down the chute, and as the bottles come through, caps are applied. No need to stop anything. Our machines operate on a cap as you go system. If there are no bottles, no caps are discharged. The caps are just waiting. On a spindle capper, you have fewer wear parts. The wear parts on a spindle capper, essentially the belts and the discs. The gripper belts for carrying the bottles through, and the tightening discs for applying the torque to the caps. The spindle disc will contact the cap, and the gripper belts stabilize the bottles. These cappers also allow for easy changeover without a lot of change parts. Generally, you shouldn't have any change parts. Change parts are only required if you have a very wide range of bottles and caps. Some adjustments are necessary for the changeover, normally on the chute, the gripper belts, and the disc, and these are achieved through simple knob adjustments or adjustments using one tool to open or close the chute. The easy changeover from one bottle to another reduces downtime and keeps production moving, even when multiple bottles or caps are being used in the same packaging plant. As I mentioned before, the capper handles a wide range of bottles and caps, spindle capper that is, without the need for a lot of change parts. And you can handle sports caps, flat caps, triggers, you name it, spindle capper can generally handle those. Different bottles, from skinny round bottles to larger square bottles. All of this adds to the versatility of the machine and the overall lower cost compared to the rotary chuck cappers. In this video, you'll see an overview of the capper. You'll see several bottles running, different close-ups, so you can see caps being pulled out of the chute and applied to the bottles. You'll also see where the caps are rejected on the cap feed belt towards the end of the video. That's where we determine which caps go down the chute to apply to the bottle and which go back to the hopper. Mark, you can start
Thanks,
the
John.
video.
We'll start the video now. And in case anyone does have any issues with the videos playing properly, do know that when you receive access to the recording of the presentation, you will definitely be able to see them without issue.
Okay, I hope that overview was helpful. And some considerations when purchasing a capper. Consistent torque control is one of the main concerns with capping. Applying the right amount of torque to the caps. Too little or too much torque can affect the integrity of the seal, especially when doing induction sealing. We offer a digital torque monitor that displays and records the final application torque on every cap. An alarm will sound any torques outside the required range. This torque monitor is pre-populated with industry standard torque values, and they are adjustable so you can customize them if you need to. There's also a built-in printer that gives you a summary of that lot run, and you can download all the data to keep your records or for quality control purposes. Cap inspections system. In the event that the container exits a capper without a cap or with a cross-threaded cap, you'd want that container identified and removed from the line. Our standalone cap inspection station will perform that function for you. Easy setup, easy changeover, less than 2 minutes. I hope that my presentation has been helpful, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thanks, John. With that, we'll turn it over to Jesse, who will talk about induction sealing.
Thanks, Mark, and thanks, John. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Jessica. I'm one of our sales managers here at Enercon, and we're going to dive into a little bit about induction sealing this morning. A couple quick facts about Enercon. We're based here in Menomonee Falls, Wisconsin. We are a privately owned, family-run company here in Wisconsin. And we're established in 1974. We have maintained a great spot here in the induction sealing world. We are the global leader in induction sealing technology, and have the biggest application experts in terms of our team behind our products here, including the cannabis industry. It's an industry that we got into starting in Canada a few years back and have become quite integrated here in the US as well in recent years. And we also are in the coronal plasma and flame treating world, which is a totally different world, but another important part of Enercon. So one of the main reasons people do induction seal is to preserve freshness. You put these important products in a jar and you want them to last for a while. So lengthening the shelf life of them, is one of the biggest things. So induction sealing provides a hermetic seal. It's really one of the only ways you're going to get a hermetic seal on a container. And that is going to prevent oxygen from coming in and out of the jar. So it's going to give a consistent product to your consumer. Tamper evidence is also huge. I think this has become something that's become even more important in recent years. Back, in the 1970s with the Tylenol scandals, where tamper evidence became important initially. But I think even in our recent world, all having lived through what happened with COVID, tamper evidence is huge. We haven't gotten to a point in cannabis yet where we have federal guidelines for tamper evidence like we do in the pharmaceutical world, but I think generally in the cannabis industry, a lot of the companies do tend to go in that direction. And so having an induction seal on your jar is going to give your consumer that, I'll say, the warm and fuzzy feeling that that jar has not been tampered with. And the product inside has not been tampered with. And preventing pilferage. You've got a high value product in the cannabis world, so it's something that you want protected. We've gone over how do you fill these properly and how do you weigh them properly to have an accurate amount of product in each jar because of its high value. And this is adding another level of protection. So that, again, consistency. Your customers are going to have a consistent product. It's not something that you're going to have to worry about them opening up the jar and somebody took a bud or two out. So it's just another layer of protection. So basics of induction sealing, it's actually a pretty simple process. You've got the cap. Generally, you're going to source that cap with the induction liner inside of it. And you've got, so the liner is made up sometimes of a paper board backing. You've got the layer of foil, and then you have the layer of the heat seal layer. So the induction sealing process, the way it works, our machine creates this induction field, kind of like a microwave. We're causing that layer of conductive foil to heat up. So once, when it moves through the machine, we're heating up that foil, and that's activating that heat seal layer, and that's causing the liner to then seal to the bottle, to the jar. We are not touching it. The machine is not touching the cap, it's not touching the liner, it's not touching the product. It's a complete non-contact process, and then what you're left with is that hermetic seal. So induction sealing comes down to three basic things: pressure, heat, and time. And the first is going to be pressure. The pressure is probably by far the most important. You just heard John talk about cap torque. Cap torque is by far the most critical part of this, and it's also the biggest issue that we see in the field. We get a phone call here at Enercon probably 2 to 3 times a week asking about issues with inconsistent seal results. We had 200 bottles that we sealed, and 5 of them didn't seal properly. What's wrong with your machine? And honestly, 99% of the time, there's nothing wrong with the machine. It's that they had inconsistent cap torque. So having that cap on tight enough is going to make sure there is consistent pressure coming down on that liner so that it is in contact with the jar properly when it goes through the machine. So this is going to show you our the general torque guidelines for the industry. We recommend approximately 1/2 of the cap size in inch pounds in application torque. And this is a pretty general guideline industry-wide. It's not exact. You're not going to have 100% failures if you're 1 or 2 inch pounds below or above, but you want to aim for that range. And again, like SureCap talked about, being able to measure that and track it is really important. So the second part of this is the heat part. And this is obviously coming from our machine heating up that layer of foil. So the machine itself does not generate any heat. You can touch the machine, you can touch the sealing head, and it's not generating any heat on its own, but that electromagnetic field is causing that foil to heat up. And so you can also see that the white rings there is an illustration of kind of how that electromagnetic field is coming at the cap from the sealing head. In this particular case, you see a flat sealing head, which is something we'll use in a variety of applications. In general, some of the larger cap diameters we use flat sealing heads with, and this is where the induction field is coming at it only from the top. So the third part of this is going to be the time. And for us, this is the conveyor speed. In the induction sealing world, we care mostly about the actual linear speed of how fast your jars are moving through the machine. The machine doesn't necessarily care about bottles per minute. We don't necessarily need to know 30 bottles a minute, 40 bottles a minute, 50 bottles a minute. What we're looking for is that actual speed. We want to know, is your conveyor running at 25 feet a minute, 40 feet a minute, 60 feet a minute? That's going to tell us how much power that liner needs to seal properly, with the type of equipment that you have. Here is a overview of our Enercon product line. So on the bottom right, we have our Super Seal Junior. That's our handheld sealer. This is actually something we have seen go into a lot of cannabis applications. A lot of the cannabis companies have started with a handheld sealer. A lot of the applications have started in a very manual way. And I think now, as the industry has progressed over the last few years, they are certainly moving more into the inline setup, which is where you're seeing more of the fillers and the cappers come in as well. The machine on the top right is our Super Seal Touch. That machine is probably what we've sold mostly into the cannabis world, because it's also what we sell mostly into the pharma world. That machine is going to give customers the ability to go into that touch screen and you can set recipes. You can do, you can check the fault log of the machine. It has additional integration and monitoring capabilities that can be really useful in fully automated filling lines. So that's definitely something that we've seen go into the industry a lot. On the bottom left is our Super Seal, also something we've sold a lot into cannabis. I think that machine is a little bit more basic in terms of the integration capabilities, but the seal result is just as good as what you're going to get with the Touch. And then on the top left is our Super Seal Max, same capabilities in the Touch series. But that machine is primarily used in really fast line speed applications. Not something we've seen so much in the cannabis world, but there if those applications do go to that point at some point in the future. So we've talked some about glass and plastic today. I think we certainly see more plastic in the induction sealing world than we do glass, but wanted to touch on this because we can successfully induction seal glass and plastic. We've certainly seen a fair amount of glass come out of cannabis. And one thing I want to touch on to make sure it is a successful result is it's important that the glass that you're sourcing is coated to accept an induction seal, and it's also important that you're sourcing an induction liner that is designed to seal to glass. There are hundreds of different induction liners, so it's really important that you're making sure that they are compatible to one another and that they're compatible to the product as well. Here's just an example of two of our sealing head designs. I talked about the flat head earlier. This is also a picture of one of our flat sealing heads. So obviously the jars are just moving underneath it, being sealed from the top. And then on the right is an example of one of our tunnel style sealing heads. So a tunnel, you're going to have the induction field come at it from the top and the sides. And in caps like this domed cap here that's a little bit taller, so there may be a little bit more space between the top of that cap and where that liner sits in the cap, and kind of where we can come at it with that induction field. It becomes more efficient for us to seal with a tunnel because we're able to throw more power at it with a tunnel from the top and the sides. This is a example of one of our flat sealing heads, and this one in particular is our flat universal style sealing head. So we do have a version of this on both our Super Seal series and also our Super Seal Touch. So the beauty of a sealing head like this is it gives customers a lot of flexibility in terms of cap sizes. So you can see the cap size illustrated on the front of the sealing head. So 24 millimeters on the starting end, all the way up to 120 millimeters on the large end. So you have 4 positions, and that black knob can easily just be moved to any of those positions to match up with the cap size that you're sealing that day. So the changeover in terms of, if you're going from a 38 millimeter cap one day to an 89 millimeter cap the next day, the changeover is literally less than a minute. It's very quick, very simple, and very user-friendly. Quickly, just want to touch on pressure-sensitive liners. This is a question that Enercon gets a lot, not only related to cannabis. We get it in just, in multiple industries. Customers who call up and who are currently using pressure-sensitive liners, and they want to know, well, why don't they work? Why isn't it, preventing my bottle from leaking? Pressure-sensitive liners really, for the most part, they're just making your cap a little tighter. They're not truly giving you a seal of any sort. They are not providing a hermetic seal like an induction liner does. So they're not giving you really any level of that freshness, of that, lengthening your shelf life, and they're not giving you the tamper evidence or preventing the pilferage, because the liners do really just kind of pop right off and could be put back in place, without anyone really noticing. One other thing that, industry-wide, I think that's really important is making sure you're sourcing good quality caps, containers, and liners. And this is something we have seen really become a very important thing, especially with some of the supply chain issues that we've seen over the last couple of years. We've had customers buy whatever they could get their hands on, in terms of the products, the caps, liners, and containers, and that can cause a problem, because if you're buying any liner you can find online, that supplier may not be familiar with the fact that they need to be compatible to one another. That liner needs to be compatible to the jar and to the product. It's also really important that that jar be made properly in terms of the land area. It needs to be nice and flat. It needs to be even. You don't want to have defects on it. That would cause inconsistent contact and pressure. And you want the cap and bottle to match properly. You want them to line up properly. You want that cap to fit properly. That's, again, going to give you really good, consistent contact and pressure.
All right. Thank you, Jesse, and thank you to our panelists today for sharing these informative insights. Before we get to our audience questions, let's take a quick recap of some of the highlights from today's webinar. Heat and Control offers Ishida weighers for unsurpassed accuracy for ultra-low target weights of pharmaceutical-grade cannabis products. Speedy Packaging reminded us that container material and opening diameter are important considerations when selecting your packaging equipment. Lines may be designed by Speedy for glass or plastic jars, or both, and they do offer system engineering and integration services. SureCap explained how spindle cappers offer versatility and handle a wide range of bottles and caps, and also why consistent cap application torque is critical for a successful induction cap sealing. And Jesse wrapped up with Enercon, talking about the benefits of a hermetic induction seal and also some of the keys to achieving a perfect seal. With that, we'll get to your questions. Again, you can also reach out directly to any of our presenters with their contact information here. And we're going to take the first question, and it's for Speedy. And the question is, can glass jars be checked for proper net weight?
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the things that the Terra Gross system is specifically designed for, because of the variation in the empty container weights with glass. We've seen glass jars, empty glass jars, vary by as much as 4 grams. And when we're only putting 3.5 grams in, it becomes more difficult to do a check weigh on it. So we tear the empty glass jar out, fill it with the Ishida weigher, and then do another check on it, subtracting the tear weight to confirm proper weight.
Great, thanks for that, Mark. Let's see, next question would be for Jeff, and the question is, when testing or trialing equipment, what can be used to simulate the cannabis products rather than actually using the cannabis products itself?
Very good question, because it's something obviously that we do come across quite often with different state regulations and country regulations, say for Canada and US. Typically, we can use a loose leaf tea type of product. Anything that is sticky, we use. But like I said, loose leaf tea is generally what we would use to give very similar type of results. Low target weight products, also something that we use. But we do have, from time to time, people who can supply the actual cannabis buds or cannabis material. But like I said, we do have experience using non-cannabis products for doing proper testing. So that's something we can certainly look at, yes.
Hey, Jeff, if I could jump in on that really quick as well. When we do FATs at Speedy with your systems, we've had good luck using hemp flower is one of the items that we'll purchase and run on the machines. That's legal, at least in our state. And then the other thing that we've done in the past is popcorn, coated popcorn. Butter flavored popcorn or cheese flavored popcorn is a good placebo to run during FATs.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I never thought of that one. Thanks, Mark. I know in the Middle East sometimes we've used saffron. So that's, again, though, the problem with saffron is it's very expensive. And in that industry, it is their version of cannabis. So, but it gives the same type of consistency of stickiness and flow. But yeah, so we have different options. Whoever asked that question, thank you very much. But between myself and Mark, we'd always find a solution to do proper testing of your product.
Great. Thanks, Jeff and Mark. John, a question for you. This is regarding the ability of your equipment to measure the torque of the cap. And the question is that something that's available with specific models? And is it also retrofittable to models in the field?
It's available for every model, and it is retrofittable. We just need to know what serial number the machine that they want to retrofit it on is, and we can check to see if there are any additional needs. But generally, yes, it can be retrofitted, and it's available for any of the cappers, tighteners, retorquers.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that, John. Looks like we're at our hour marker. We've got one more question that we'll get to, and this one is for Jesse. Jesse, this person wants to know how they can tell if their cap, bottle, and liner are compatible for induction sealing.
Sure, thanks, Mark. So generally, if we notice a compatibility issue in induction sealing, you're going to see liners like flake right off of the jars. I mean, it becomes apparent pretty quickly. Like you can seal it with, 100% power, and it still flakes off. And one thing that we like to help our customers with is run samples. We maintain a full lab here with all of our equipment, all of our sealing heads, and we run samples for customers over almost every day. And this is something that is available to prospective customers, current customers, anybody who is looking for help in determining, do they have a compatibility issue? How do I find my sealing window? Whatever it might be, give us a call and we'll certainly help you out.
Great. Thanks, Jesse. And thank you to our audience today. We appreciate you taking time to spend with us. Hopefully you found this very informative. If you did or have any comments for us, please email us. We'd love your feedback. And also, if you have any requests for topics that you would like any of our presenting companies today to present in the future. Thank you again. Everyone will receive access to the recording and the presentation deck tomorrow via an email. And again, we appreciate your time and have a great day.